Anyhow, about 6 months before we went away on our Arnhem Land trip, one night we were just sitting up there, we were watching TV. Oh well, I might say the TV set was on, and I was editing photos, and she was knitting. And then then I saw she was starting to get a bit teary, and I said, "What's up, darling?" And she said, "You're not going to heaven with me."
Wow.
I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "You're not a Christian." And I said, "What makes you say that I'm not a Christian?" I said, "How do you know that I'm not a Christian?" "Something you said." I said, "What did I say?" She said, "I'm not telling you." "Well, come on, tell me what you said." She says, "I'm not telling you." And she never ever did tell me what I'd said. It was starting to gnaw away at me, you know, wow, not going to be with her in heaven. Wow, that's a pretty big deal. And I said to her, I said, "Darling, when we get back from the Arnhem Land trip," I said, "I'll start going to 7 o'clock service with you." And she was really overjoyed. So we went and done the Arnhem Land trip. On the way back, Lynn started to show signs of being some sort of illness she had, and we just couldn't work it out. And then the head of the emergency department came up. He just said, "Mrs. Sheldon, you have multiple tumours in your liver, and you have advanced stage 4 cancer." Now, I didn't know what advanced stage 4 cancer, but I knew what he was saying was just horrible. And Lynn fell forward in the bed, and I nearly fell off the chair I was sitting on, and I got up and I grabbed her, and we knew straight away this was extraordinarily serious. And that was the Saturday when you and James came in. I was home, and Lynn was still, and then I had the horrible job that day of telling her that she was going to die. So then I just started praying, and Lynn stayed around for after that another 5 weeks. She stayed around, although quality of life just dropped away to the point where she couldn't talk. And she said she wasn't frightened of dying, but her big disappointment was being separated from me. Yeah, well, I slept in the hospital every night for the 5 weeks. In the last 12 days, I virtually never left the ward. But at the same time, you know, James was helping to. And then I really started understanding what it was all about, becoming a Christian. And he was starting to guide me, and he said after she goes, he would lead me through. And I was saying we started off with Matthew, the Gospel of Matthew, and I was saying, in actual fact, I started reading it in the hospital when Lynn was unconscious for long periods of time. And I used to pray in there, and I used to pray for healing, but obviously her body finally yielded to the cancer. I think trying to understand why these things happening, I think you just beat up on yourself. So you've just got to try and accept that it has happened in this broken world, and understanding that the world is full of sin, the world's a broken world. And there's a much better world for us to go to. I was absolutely determined to do the eulogy, and I probably practiced it 40 times, and every time I used to break down the first paragraph. So when I come to give the eulogy at the church, I stepped up to the lectern, looked out there, first 3 words, and I felt my voice waver, felt the tears come. And a couple of the girls said, "Just look at us." And they just stood up the back and went like that. They said, "So uplifting." And all of a sudden, my voice came absolutely perfectly clear. Clarity of thought.
Wow.
Absolute clarity of thought. And I went straight through. I put all the inflections in where I wanted to, got the emotion where I wanted to. And when I finished, I just broke down. So after that, I suppose the first day after the funeral was probably the worst day of my life. The second day wasn't much better. However, James came up and grabbed me and took me up to Scripture, and the people from the church rallied around. bought us meals, which were great. At the time I didn't realise how great it was. And then I gradually started coming out. But I mean, those first 3 months were really tough. I started the first time to understand what being a Christian was all about. And I had a lot of people within the church, talking to me, and I was asking a lot of questions, and fundamentally understanding about faith in Jesus. You had to follow Jesus if you're going to go through that narrow gate. Christianity is and serving God is the basis of my life now. And I know I've got a lot to learn. And if you're not looking forward to something greater in life, a spiritual life, and life after death, I mean, you really haven't got a lot. It is most important.